Yo guys, what is up? It is Paperthin here, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos here on DRX's matches at Masters Copenhagen. So a lot of this is going to be kind of like stream of consciousness, just kind of watching the rounds through the eyes of how I would kind of normally sort of watch them as like an analyst caster or color caster, whatever you want to think of it as, and just sort of going through a lot of you know the kind of experience I have, casting so many of Vision Strikers slash DRX's matches, what their mentality is going into these, what they do well, what they don't, what the other teams are doing to try to adjust to some of the tape they have onto DRX for this and things like that. There'll be some, on-screen doodling as well. I really like pistol rounds, so I tend to spend a little bit of extra time on those. I think they're really so important for the matches, and there's a lot that has to go into those rounds, and they're the round where you can kind of play around a bit more with strategy and tactics and utility combos and those things, kind of things going into it. So anyway, yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy these videos. I'm gonna try to go through every match that DRX had, and we'll of course start in chronological order. We'll go with Northeption first, and then end with that final FPX matchup in the lower bracket in the playoffs. So without further ado, here you go. The first one of the series is going to be DRX versus Northeption. Enjoy. All right, so we are going to get right into it with DRX versus Northeption, the opening match of VCT Masters Copenhagen, the second Masters of the year. Of course, to kind of preface all of this, it's, DRX coming off a slightly, I'd say, disappointing finish at the previous Masters, yeah, obviously, and then going into Stage 2 in Korea, it seemed like they had something to prove. They didn't drop a single map throughout Stage 2 in Korea, which they couldn't do even in Stage 1. So this is, a DRX that to me, coming into this event, was looking the best I had seen them. They were kind of starting to set their own meta, the triple initiator comp that you would see on this map Ascent. You're not going to see it here. They do bust it out again later in the tournament, but that's neither here nor there. And Northeption coming off a huge win against Zeta, the Zeta division, the team that had made that unbelievable run in the first Masters of the year. So, you have to have some high expectations for Northeption in this particular matchup. And they've got a couple Korean players on their roster in Meteor and JoJo, and then 3 Japanese players in Black Quiz, Dariali, and Zenvry. So this is a really interesting team. You have to expect that Northeption is somewhat battle-tested here because they had to play in that huge Saitama Arena for the finals of VCT Japan Stage 2. And, they're really, really good in terms of individual skill. I don't have too many doubts about what they're able to bring to the table in that regard. I think what I worry about with Northeption and what I think you see later in the tournament is that they might have had a similar problem to what we saw with Crazy Raccoon last year, where, yeah, individually unbelievable players, but as a whole, because they're not all speaking the same language, and Northeption actually talks about this later in the event in one of their interviews, that there does have to be some translation being done on the fly. So some disjointedness at times. You don't see it too much on this map, but I think later in the tournament, and especially on Bind, you're going to see a lot more struggling. Another thing to mention here real quick is I think you guys all know at this point that Meteor is pretty nuts as a Jet player, but JoJo, a guy who I want to highlight JoJo here for the side of Northeption, a player who last year in Korea in 2021 played on a team called Go and Go Prince, who didn't have great results. They made 2 quarterfinals, I think it's Stage 2 and Stage 3 last year, and JoJo was a part of that team. So they didn't get past the quarterfinals. They lost both times. In fact, they lost to the Vision Strikers one of those times. So he's a guy who hasn't had a ton of success. And this is his first international event, really. So, it's exciting to see him on this team and them having a lot of great moments, to be frank. And also another thing to note is that Northeption did change coaches coming into this stage, and they picked up Bale, the former coach of TNL in Korea, the former sister team of Vision Strikers, a very great coach. You could already see that, and we'll see a lot of it in this game, where he's got a lot of really good ideas, a lot of good reads on the opponents that he's, funneling into his team. And of course, Bale also played with Termi and Glow, who were coaches for DRX on that We Made Fox CS team. So there's a lot of history here between a lot of these players that you may not know about, and the coaching staff. So a lot of interesting stuff. So let's jump right into the pistol round. I love pistol rounds. I think they're so fascinating. I think they're one of the most important parts of the game that doesn't get talked about maybe enough, that are just so crucial. And I mean, I think players know it, but maybe as fans, sometimes you just kind of go, oh, well, we lost the pistol. Well, at the professional level, you can't really have that mindset sometimes. So I love the setup here for Northeption. They have a great read. So as you can see, DRX deathballing it inside B by the bell tower, or in the B lobby, whatever you want to call this area. And their idea here, as you can see, is I've drawn the flash, and then they're going to push off of that. So Meteor's going to push up to here, go into the smoke, check to see if anybody from DRX is coming through. You have JoJo coming through to watch the angle, to set up a great crossfire, not only from his position, but then Genfrey is going to move to the corner. And so you're making this really, really challenging for DRX off the rip. And you're taking a ton of space. You've got a great read on their positioning. And you're kind of trying to take a page out of DRX's book. You'll see this a lot with DRX in Korea, and I would say they do it more against teams that they're a little more comfortable, that they're better than, where sometimes they'll flash and dash, or sometimes Stax himself will just push through mid to try to flash and set up for some big multi-kills inside of here. Meanwhile, Dariali's going to kind of act as a pivot man, maybe needs to back up mid if DRX really fully commits to that. He has the option to go back to market, potentially. And then while all that's going on, Blackwiz is either going to, try to hold the door. He's already got a star placed, but we'll see eventually he does try to pinch coming through. So this setup from Northeption is great. They have a perfect read on where DRX is going to go, what they're going to do, and then you're going to see how this all plays out. So let's get into the round here. And so let's watch the flash over the top, the dash in. Flash catches 2. Meteor's waiting to see if anybody comes out, and then they're going to set up the crossfire. Now, this is super smart here from Northeption, because they put DRX in a terrible position. DRX has to do something about this. They have no choice, because if they give up this space and they try to fast hit into B, that's potentially doable. But then they're going to have, so many flanks that they're going to be having to contest on the way in. They're going to have to contest market. They're going to have to contest potentially Blackwiz on site. There's a turret and a star there to check all this. So for DRX, the first point of business is to throw the knife to see what kind of information they can get, maybe shut down a little bit of utility. At this point, the only thing that they're going to really shut down is the 0 point from Zenfree. So it catches 2. Dariali's able to sidestep it, so he's unnoted. That's kind of an interesting point of this round, a powerful point. But now you can see the push from JoJo. There's a really good opportunity here. There is, looks like, a response from DRX has to be that they got to clear this. They got to do something about this push. Otherwise, the round could go real sideways real fast. And, initially they were waiting to see if Meteor came out. He doesn't. And then the Prowler goes out, and it backs Meteor up temporarily. Dariali gets 2, but he's smoked, so he's able to wait inside of it. Blackwiz now is coming around for the crunch, but it's just a bit too late, because that went so crazy fast one-sided for DRX. DRX just hitting their shots in there, and they're able to get the 3 for 2. Even though there is another trade there for the side of Blackwiz. Dariali now completely unnoted. And so you're going to have to invest the turret here to check and also to clear Dariali's turret. But they have no idea where he is. At this point, Dariali's got a decent opportunity. He's completely unaccounted for. He's going to be able to sidestep this turret and not have the information be given away. So really, I love the idea. I love the read here from Northeption. The execution just not quite there. Dariali may be pulling the trigger a bit quick on this, and he's going to get punished by the double swing from DRX. So, you're seeing a really good round, and you'll hear it from Hypoc here. He's very happy about this, and I am too. I love what I saw here from Northeption. It was a really good read, but you're just seeing that DRX, has a lot of firepower. Zest comes through with 3 kills with his Ghost, has a nice little moment, a good little Prowler to keep Meteor at bay on kind of the initial hit. So now we go into the eco and the anti-eco for DRX, and Zest is going to grab that Bulldog. He has been doing that all year long. Loves that gun, and you're going to see it multiple times in this game where it really provides a lot of value. A 0 point to check for DRX. It doesn't spot anybody, but the Haunt over top has to be cleared, so they know somebody's in there. And they're just going to, take the orb and peace out. See if they could draw a little bit of attention. Meanwhile, of course, Buzz is watching for the exits. A lot of teams, particularly Asia teams, love to get aggressive on their ecos. So DRX is taking their time watching for these pushes to decide what they want to do. So they've been making noise over here, and in fact, they draw the rotation out from JoJo. And so they're able to then re-rotate. So it's a good piece of kind of bait and switch here for the side of DRX, and you're going to see that Dariali is going to try to play off this turret, and it doesn't go well because Buzz is able to see it without it seeing him, and they're going to take it out, and immediately it's a utility combo. Now, there's a little bit of weirdness in the video here, but a Prowler and then a Paranoia behind it, so no matter what, Dariali is going to get hit by the flash, is not going to be able to have any kind of response, and he actually, you'll see it in the replay, he gets caught on the way out. And so DRX, they're able to combo their utility, what they're so well known for, perfectly to clear the space, take the site. And then it's a 3-for-1 here. I mean, I respect the idea from Northeption trying to come from multiple angles. You can see Stax is already lining up. Meteor's going to come through. And let's see if they can get anything done. No, they cannot. Right? It's Zest with the Bulldog. And then RB's able to kind of read the timing on Meteor through the smoke and take him out. So again, Northeption, not bad ideas. Just really solid early round kind of rotating for DRX to pull positioning and then get the round in their hands pretty cleanly. And, of course, some great shots from the side of Zest. Yep, you can see there that combo forces Dariali back. They know that. They know they're going to be able to chase off the back of the Prowler. DRX loves to do that kind of stuff to chase their own Prowlers. You'll see this with Neons when they're paired with the Fade. Where they'll, let the Prowler lead the way for RB on the Neon sometimes to try to set up an easier kill for him. So now this is where things start to go a little wonky. So let's take. I mean, Zest already has a Nightfall, right? So let's go back a little bit and take a look at how this round starts. So DRX is going to get pretty feisty, pretty aggressive, pretty early. They have a Nightfall. They feel like they might have an opportunity to, on the bonus, squeak this one out. See if they can get something done. And so they're going to push right away. Smokes to cover the cross at short A. A Prowler to lead the way. A 0 point's going to hit Meteor. So they know there's only one in here. And then off of that, this is so smart. They use the 0 point. They know that it catches somebody in here, so they're going to get flushed into here. So at the very worst, this Nightfall is going to at least catch Meteor. And it does. Now, does it catch anybody else? Oops. I think not. I don't know if that catches JoJo on the side of it, but Meteor just gets crunched. In fact, gets taken down by Genfrey's utility. And so, they've got the early part of the site, but then Genfrey just has a great swing around the corner here. You're going to see it in the replay. It's absolutely disgusting shooting with the Vandal from him, and then the crunch comes through from Blackwiz. Good discipline from Genfrey here. To really, really, really lock this down. And I may be saying Genfrey's name wrong. It may be Genfu is what I'm being told, so I apologize for that one, but this is outrageous. Just absolutely disgusting shooting from Genfu. As I'm being told that is how his name is actually pronounced. And so a good recovery here for the side of Northeption, not ceding the bonus. And then early round, you could see a Haunt up top to try to get some information towards mid. Again, there's going to be the knife in the market for the side of DRX to check. They're only going to find Genfu, and then they're kind of fanning out. So a lot of isolation play here from DRX. Not something you're going to see too often typically, but sometimes for sure. Now, RB's kind of stuck underneath, so you're trying to get some help as Meteor has pushed pretty far ahead. With JoJo, you're going to see these two comboed a lot. Again, the language thing, very, very important. Meanwhile, Mako trying to make his way through main. Stacks, you're going to see him cover from top mid a lot once they've gained space into mid for the team, or if they're trying to gain space into mid. Okay, so they're covering. Now, RB, they're not really sure if anybody's pushed through because of the smoke that Meteor's in. And there is a Prowler to check onto the alley there, and or the catwalk, that's what people call it. And yeah, so nobody's gained much out of this. DRX somewhat gaining space in mid, but nothing too great. Still the alarm bot that Meteor's looking to play off of here, seeing if maybe he can get one early, maybe get another when they go for the clear on the alarm bot. Mako's going to back up here to help, and you can see Stacks is watching from short. Now Dariali plays off the flash so well, gets a big kill. At this point, I'm not sure if Zest was noted or not there. That's where the spike is too, so that's pretty huge. But again, Genfu and Meteor, find the perfect time to cut through, unaccounted for. They had no idea they were there. And the crossfire is set up at the door now, and Stacks has to try to clear market, but Meteor was actually in the cubby. Genfu doing a really nice job holding the line there. And yeah, that's a solid round here for Northeption, and you're going to see a couple more of those. They have a great start to this, and you're seeing some really, really good reads. Oh, and you could see, they even did it for me. You can see that these guys used to be coaches together. So yeah, I mean, DRX here just trying to take space into mid, and it's just read and reacted to extremely well by Northeption. So DRX early timeout in this. Termi already not liking what he's seeing. Maybe feels like it's potentially a bit predictable, but Northeption that kind of learn from their mistakes a little bit. They don't bite on the rotations as early, and they kind of wait this out. So let's skip through the timeout. Skip. There's Termi. Skip. All right. So into the next round, you're still going to leave the alarm bot there. Meteor looking to get a little bit of pressure, maybe combo off the utility. Blackwiz potentially if there's a push. Maybe sometimes DRX on an eco round will death ball, of course. You got to be ready for that. So they set up the one-way to try to set up Meteor. RB pushing through with the Frenzy. Of course, we're going to see some amazing Frenzy heroics from him later. This round, it won't be anything quite like what you're going to see on that Haven against FPX, but now they're going to try to cut through towards short A a bit, but the turret and the shot from Meteor is clean. The guy's absolutely just cracked out of his mind. You'll love to see it. The flash here is turned by Meteor, and he's unnoted as the dash pass, and the follow-up positioning from Dariali is so good. So pretty good read, pretty good positioning, pretty good setup for the side of Northeption. Now things start to get a little bit dicey for DRX. You're investing in this round, but that's going to be a lot of your money being dumped into it. You've got a lot of powerful ults in the hand for Northeption, and so things are looking a little bit spicy for sure. So let's see how DRX wants to respond to this. Now DRX being pretty methodical at this point. They're not really kind of going for those big executes. We haven't seen too much of the massive utility combos just yet. You're going to trade Prowlers there, just kissing, just momentarily. And so they're not happy with that. They're going to get, the information at the very least that the Prowler's there. And look, if JoJo's there, you have to be worried that Meteor's there, and they have to know that the op's going to be coming out with the money that Meteor had. And so they back off of this. They don't want to deal with that. And you can see that. Look at the setup here for the side of Northeption. I mean, you've got the Nano Swarm around the wall. You've got the star here to either smoke or gravity well or whatever. turret to be played off a contact from glass. Zhenfu up at top. And so a lot of defense is invested to this A side, feeling pretty confident that, with the pressure that they were able to create from B main, maybe leading DRX, to not want to have to mess with Meteor's operator or the Fade utility and stuff, that maybe they can kind of catch Northeption sleeping a little bit here. But it's still a really solid read from Northeption. And so you can see there's a smoke, there's a dash in. Now, RB's entry is pretty clean here, right? He's going to catch Black Wiz trying to push out into his own smoke. Finds a great angle there to pick up a couple. But Dariali and Genfrey, let's back up a little bit. And Genfu, excuse me. Let's take a look at what they do here. So, right, again, they're coming from heaven. You can see that they're going to have a great angle down on top of this. And there isn't too much that's put there. The star, or not the star, the smoke comes, but it's too late. And at that point, they're able to wide swing it. There's no mollies. There's nothing else really up there to harass them. And as good as RB's entry was, there's a lot of open territory for people to shoot from heaven. And they're able to really take advantage of it. Of course, yep, RB left alone, and Spike was down in main, so not much they can do off of that. Of course, with Stacks going down with his ult as well, that makes it a little bit easier for Meteor to kind of re-peek on that. And they have a great, you can see here, there's just a smoke. That's it. And they're able to just line him up and mow him down. So the timing's great, the double push from Northeption, the communication good. And they're able to take it, and the battle cry of VCT Japan, nice, is going to come through. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit more interesting. Buzz, of course, invests in that judge, and that's going to be huge later on. And DRX is just going to press the issue with RB with the blades, see what they could do with it. Even though he's flashed, still able to hide in the smoke, close things up, has to force out the right click, but able to get it. So good entries, though, from RB so far is what we're at least seeing. He's getting into the space he needs to do. He's doing his job, but that is absolutely ridiculous what Meteor does there. He's just absolutely nuts. Now, missing that shot is really devastating for the side of Northeption. Having Mako still in there. Now, there is a fallback plan here for DRX for that crossfire angle, but that's going to invest the Cosmic Divide to, right, you can see it here on the screen, to cut off main, but that's all you cut off. And that's kind of favorable in a way to DRX, because if they can just scoot around the corner here, potentially, they're going to be undetected if they can find a good timing to cross out into the lane. Then things could go pretty sideways for Northeption. That's not exactly how it plays out, but I'm not so sure I like this Cosmic Divide too much, especially if Meteor hits that shot too. That might kind of bait them into thinking that, they've cleared that angle, they don't have to worry about it. But Meteor, has to smoke that off in case there's a push out. There's going to be another smoke to try to kind of caterpillar their way in, and Zest just going to be able to respond fast enough. Now Jojo trying to play off this wall, trying to see if he can kind of peek through it, but Buzz just disrespects the heck out of Jojo there. The mechanical kind of prowess it takes to make that jump, to recover, to switch to the classic, to get the shot into Black Wiz, and then here, Jean-Free actually gets taken down by a wallbang from Tommy Turret that gets set up after the fact by Buzz, but that's just great patience, great timing from Buzz. And again, he's using that Cosmic Divide against Northeption. So just great kind of off the cuff, on the fly thinking from Buzz. And he's able to punish that round. And that's where things start to go very well for DRX. And I should also note at this point that DRX definitely, at least in Korea, is an attacker-sided team. They definitely tend to perform a little bit better in those situations. So now, of course, the Odin spam. But, initially DRX is just waiting it out. Again, looking to see if anybody pushes out. DRX is very, you know, very concerned on their, especially on their attacker side, with especially with Meteor playing, right, with this guy, of people pushing out from different angles, and rightly so. And you're going to see that they just avoid mid altogether this round, and so Meteor doesn't have too much information. There's not a great read here for the side of North Eption of whether or not DRX is B or A. They really don't know yet. Now they know, right? And so now they get the information, but it's going to back Meteor off, and this gives them the space they need to cut through, to get into mid, to take the alarm bot out, and then the push is going to come through. And you can see that this forces out just a really awkward Killjoy ult where there just isn't a lot that, unfortunately, the rest of North Eption can do to help Dariali. This is kind of a panic lockdown, right? So lockdown's somewhere in here. And it leaves Dariali on his own to try to defend this. You know, Jojo and Meteor are trying to come to try to help. But Black Wiz is still completely over on A. He has to, in case there's a rotate off of this lockdown. He has to stay here. So numbers advantage are going to be very much in the favor of DRX for this. And so RB just push. He has to push. He has no choice. He gets the lockdown first, and Dariali doesn't swing off of that. He waits just a little bit too late, and then RB punishes him. They're able to get the lockdown taken out, and now Jojo and in the meantime, Jojo and Meteor aren't really able to get anything done. They're not able to kind of bail Dariali out. So he's stuck. He gets isolated. He gets taken out. So there's a Haunt that tries to kind of set up the retake. But at this point, the round's extremely dangerous for North Eption. I mean, getting through here would be really, really difficult. And then, of course, to make things even worse is going to be the ult from Buzz. A trade at market, and you know, DRX is just happy to sit this down, wait what happens. Now Meteor here knows that, I think with the amount of time with this detain, that he's able to just kind of watch and see if anybody comes out. Maybe he can get a pick on the exit. I don't think that's, you know, overly risky or anything what he did there. That's perfectly fine. And okay, round over. So let's skip. So just kind of a panic moment there for Dariali, and nobody's really able to bail him out. So a toughie for sure for North Eption. You invest such a powerful ult into that round, and you get worse than nothing out of it. I mean, it's you get negative results out of it. So, and that's tough. So let's see. Oops, I have to have my pointer if I want to skip ahead. All right, so initially here, a 0 point to check for DRX to see if anybody's close on A. Again, trying to show A hits, but a lot of times they're at least thinking about B. There's a Haunt to check for the side of Jojo here on a North Eption, see what's going on. The turret's placed pretty deep this time compared to usual for the side of DRX. So they're trying to fake that maybe they're going to try some kind of B hit. And or at least faking both sides, I should say, since there was a 0 point on the other side. So just nothing comes out of it here for DRX. Again, just looking for the aggressive push, trying to see if they can identify where Meteor is, see if they can identify where the operator is. Now, Meteor does a great job round around changing his position. In fact, he's trying to play off of the alarm bot. Now, they're going to smoke the alarm bot there from Mako. That also gives them the added benefit of being able to control the cross of mid, kind of go where they want to go. Stack's got the spike, and he's initially going to be leading the way, but he's got some help from RB. So, again, they're a little bit spread out. Meteor has rotated over, as you can see, but it's all just a bit of a fake to give them a little bit more space, and then a little bit of opportunity. So there's a knife in the back to check on the back wall, and it is going to identify that there's one player at CT, and that's going to be Zhenfu. And then the Nightfall, let's see, how many players does this Nightfall catch? I think it might have just clipped the heels of Dariali. Maybe not. Yeah, it must, because the Prowlers were following the line. And so they're trying to play off of that. And JoJo shuts it down right away. Great reaction from him. And he has a really great moment here. He's not accounted for fast enough. They try to, flash and see if they can catch him, not looking off the utility. Stax then jump peeks to see if he can find the second. Or not Stax, but who was that was with? Zest, or excuse me, RB. So you can see, so Zest tries to peek off of that. Oh, it is Stax. Stax jumps in. All right, I was right the first time. Stax jumps in, gets into the site, does a really good job playing off his own flash, and then the crunch comes through. And there's something else going on the backside of this. This round's actually pretty interesting. So this is just, RB trying to gain space, but it's well noted. And Stack's able to sneak down because of that flash, and JoJo just isn't quite ready for it. Meanwhile, look where Mako is. Okay, Mako is watching the exit here up top, and you also have Buzz. So they've just crunched on top of these smokes, knowing that they're going to have to be pushed out upon by North Eption. And Meteor somehow slips through, but it doesn't matter. He didn't have the weaponry really in hand to do much. Dariali tries to get in and do what he can. Blackwiz, just tries to push through, and Mako is able to hold the line and get the win. So DRX recovering nicely here, 3 in a row. And now they've finally, kind of found their footing in this half on the attacker side, which, again, very important for DRX. Typically you think of this team as a team that likes to combo utility and that kind of stuff. So attacker side is going to be really good. There's a timeout here. Can I skip? Hello? Can I skip? There we go. Skip, skip, skip. Timeout, timeout. Timeout, timeout. There's bail. Timeout. Okay. So coming out of this, it's a Marshal, a Guardian, and Sheriffs. So not too great in terms of money here for North Eption. You're seeing quite a few B hits for the side of DRX. They've, I think, only gone A once, maybe, at this point. So a knife to check again. Same knife that they've been doing every round. This time, it's not going to get any info. Meteor does pop a shot with the Marshal through short. So that's noted for the side of DRX. And Zest, going to throw that haunt to check. It isn't even cleared. So they know they've got space, but they got to be wary of that because Meteor's been playing back here by CT. And he does go for the shot, doesn't quite catch it. And so now they're going to try to set up for A. They've been going B a lot. They're gonna have to force the issue here. There's a double stack with JoJo, but he gets paranoid right away and just absolutely chased down. So it's a good read here by DRX on the positioning. And Blackwiz, okay, he finds one. That's not too bad, but he's just completely smothered by utility. Not much he can do. And then sights DRX's, and it looks like this round should be pretty well over. But there was some decent damage done. Stax and Mako were a bit low. And Zest is watching for the long rotation, potentially. It never does quite come through. Dariali is able to recover that Guardian, and we're going to see that get a ton of value for him. Smoke at the top, once there's any kind of contact, just again, to buy more time, make it harder. Okay, you get a little bit of info. You trying to clear hell with the fragment. Doesn't quite work. You can kind of smother one side or the other. With your own body to avoid it. And here's where Dariali even gets marked here. And he's still just popping people. Now Zest from main is able to cover the cross, and that's actually, that headshot was actually, I think, the turret. And Hypox says it there. And so just a crazy round there. I mean, had he hit that headshot, that would have been nuts, but still really impressive from Dariali. Gets the lockdown back. And now DRX has shown that they're willing to make some attention at A, but it was only on an eco, so, what do you make of that? So you're seeing these 3-2 splits all the time early from DRX, and again, it's slow, it's methodical. You only see fast hits every once in a while, like on the bonus or something like that. So they've been taking their time, trying to figure stuff out. This is a fascinating round. So hold on. Okay, so let's back up because this is a really interesting round from North Eption. Okay, so this time instead of a flash from Zhenfu, it is actually the 0 point, right? So let's go back a little bit. Can we go back? And now you've got the operator back, of course, as well. So a little bit of a different setup that what we saw in the pistol round, right? So it's the knife at the wall. I think it only catches one, maybe two. But RB's ready on the swing. He hides himself around the corner. There is the haunt that does see them as well, but let's talk about Stack's positioning here, because it is just so smart in the timing here. Now, so Stack starts out the round like we talked about earlier, right? Top mid. He's been sitting here. He watches for these push-outs, and finally it happens. DRX has been playing for this. They've been waiting for it, and now this seems like Northeption's moment to strike. So again, they know command in there. I think it maybe catches a flash over to set up Zenfu, and he's going to get one. Now, RB is so fast on this response, and he's so good. Meanwhile, they did smoke top mid, but Stax is just going to completely disrespect it, start pushing through. Meanwhile, Mako's sitting over here with the spike, and that's a great trade from RB, and he's able to kind of get out of that. Of course, the pings are coming through, but while this is going on, Stax makes an unbelievable spray transfer. It's absolutely nasty. And Meteor is going to find one here on the cross, but then Mako's going to do something really interesting. He's going to TP over, so he is able to get ahead, plant the spike, and then Meteor has a nasty position to be in, and Buzz has waited very nicely, and Meteor doesn't check the 50-50 and pays the price. So a nice little cheeky little play there by Mako with his TP to make that an outrageously difficult retake for Meteor. Oh, there's a Seize in there, too. I should have mentioned that Seize was quite nice to follow up. So the utility combo is great there from Northeption, the play, but it doesn't catch DRX off guard enough. And RB's able to respond, and then Stax immediately as well starts taking space, starts pushing, hits some absolutely nasty shots. So overall, a good idea from Northeption, but a good response again from DRX on that push towards Bell Tower. They did it twice. It didn't work either time. You know, DRX has great instincts, great recovery, and RB just so fast here. He gets the blades, gets the spot from the haunt, and is right up and over. By the way, while this is all happening, my video is really goofy here. Sorry about the potato quality. It should be on, just set it to 1080p. So let's go back. Okay, while this is all happening, Stax lines up for a knife. And watch where it lands. Okay, that's a tall one. It hits the back, but because of where this lands, right? It hits the back of the wall on top of heaven, or maybe in hell, but I think heaven, I assume. And then it actually catches Dariali. So Dariali's turret inactive. So you don't have any of that extra help, and this gives everything that RB needs to just get up and over. The haunts perfectly timed as well to give the info, and there just isn't anything with all this utility smothering that they're really able to do. There's just nothing. I mean, you can see they're just ahead of it. So yeah, you have a smoke and a nano swarm at the door, but again, you can get past that fast enough. Okay, they smoke off, right, the switch. They paranoia in as well, just to make matters worse for Dariali there. And then Black Wiz gets spotted by the haunt, and he's just done. And it's just perfect. And again, the turret can't do anything, so Dariali just stuck on an island, and those are those utility combo executions that you're looking for from DRX. It's absolutely beautiful. The way that every part of the site is accounted for. Now there is the Nightfall invested, and Zhenfu, I keep wanting to call him Johnfrey, but it's Zhenfu, has a great one. Jojo gets the spot, trying to spam it through the wall. And, you know, you can see the lines, but just Buzz is better there. And, yep. Again, it's all about the execution there from DRX, and that's what you're looking for from them. So now we go into the pistol for DRX, and I really want to give Bren a lot of credit here from the side from the analyst desk, or the telestrator segment, I should say. He did a great job breaking this down. This is something I've been seeing from DRX on this map all year long on their defender's pistol side, right? 3 in mid, 2 in A. and then utility at the door of B. And so what this allows them to do is really flexibly rotate off of what their opponents show. If it's a quick hit, right, they just play off a contact, pop all their utility. It used to be that when Zest was playing Sova, he'd cross over into here, fire in some shock darts or something in there as well to kind of add to the chaos, to do some damage, and really just make this a meat grinder for opposing teams. And then also, right, and this time it's actually going to be Buzz that comes over here. Buzz is going to play off contact to pop that Nano Swarm around the corner when they try to come through. When that happens, you can gain space into mid if you so choose, or you can you have all these opportunities to create crossfires if you can keep them contained in the B side. And if they go through A, well, then you just kind of play for your retakes. But again, this is why mid control is so important on this map, is it opens up. You can see the lines are going everywhere. You can open up so many opportunities to get where you need to go on the side of DRX. But really, this is just about the fact that so many teams, particularly in Asia, really, really want to attack through B. It's a little bit easier to take. You can kind of avoid some of the weird stuff that happens at this door. If there's like a shorty or something like that. I mean, of course, you could put a shorty here too, right? But you can check this wall a little bit easier, and you can get through. So let's see how this is going to all shake out. But this is like quintessential DRX pistol round on Ascent on defender side. Just absolutely what I see from them, like not every single time, but a lot of times. You're not going to see it later, but it's extremely common. And again, it's all about playing off contact. So you can smoke into here. You throw the knife into Bell Tower to get the information. There's a counter knife to get the, to see what's going on in benches. So the information's found, and they're going to try to push through A. Now, Mako really keen here to just get out and doesn't get killed. I think if he gets killed, then that's a push for the side of Northeption. But Mako, great awarenesses, great footwork here to get out. And that, Northeption is kind of hoping here that maybe they're able to bait out the rotations from DRX. But DRX is completely patient on this. The fact that there's no more contact off of that swing towards the orb on A side just leads them to believe that, okay, we don't have to do anything yet. And also, I should mention this, Stax' position can also create crossfires into mid. So, that's like we saw with JoJo, right, on Northeption's round. So, important stuff, but you're going to see playing off the turret. Okay, now that's Buzz's key to get the heck over here and get ready to pop the Nano Swarm. Okay, so Buzz, perfectly waiting for it. And to Northeption's credit, they take their time. And then you go. And then you have to scoot around the outside. And Buzz just pieces out. He's done his job. He's bought a little bit of extra time. He's gotten the info and setting up the rotates for DRX. Now they're able to cut off through here, through B main, so that allows Mako to start making his way through. A little bit of damage done, and this is going to be the crunch for DRX. A Paranoia actually catches Meteor, so even though he gets one, and then the flash here, so let's watch this flash. This is actually kind of important. I want to talk about this flash, because it is not, it probably didn't go down exactly how you may have thought. This is not, RB gets nearsighted, okay, gets hit by the Prowler. Meteor got the one onto Zest coming through, but they're able to hit a great Paranoia and take him down. Now, Jean-Free has thrown a flash to try to pop through, but it's turned. That's not Stax' flash. Watch Zhenfu. God, I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Zhenfu. He throws the flash right here. And it kind of goes sideways. It does. This is a bit of a whoopsie here, because they're trying to play off of it, but RB turns it so nicely, and then the crunch came through right at that exact moment. So Zhenfu there kind of caught in an awkward position as he's trying to hold the door. And so it's just great discipline, great timing, great execution from DRX. And that's just make them, they've gotten so much better on pistol rounds. And it's these setups like this that are so flexible, they're so difficult to deal with, and they're so disciplined on it that Northeption just can't really find much. All right, so let's get back into this. And now, well, this round will speak for itself in just a moment. I'm just going to skip ahead on this because, quite frankly, there's only one thing to watch in this round. So again, DRX playing off of contact, just Buzz changing his position at the door. And then you're kind of got that typical 3-2 setup that they like to do. You know, alarm bot in mid. And then just waiting with that nanoswarm. It's hard to clear that nanoswarm. And it gets popped right away off of contact. And Zest is about to go absolutely bananas with the Bulldog. Just, they're going to show this in the replay. And those are absolutely disgusting shots that he hits. I mean, some of the most disgusting Bulldog spray transferring, or, you know, like, look at this. On it, just boop, boop. That is actually freaking filthy. Just absolutely insane. All right, so things getting a little awkward, but we are into the bonus for DRX. That knife does account for quite a few members of DRX to check for this, so that's going to force out. That's going to force out the smoke there from Mako to try to hold off that push. They don't really feel super comfortable on that. You know, they have to make sure that that push doesn't come through based on that information. So forces out a bit of a rotate. You can see there's some danger pings towards Boiler in case somebody's watching that angle. But this time DRX isn't. They've been showing a little bit of pressure from that angle from Stacks, but this time around they're going to fall back and play a little bit off contact. Try to play a little close quarters with these Spectres as best they can. And that's kind of why they, I think, in some ways, at least in my opinion, play Phantoms a lot too. We'll see this later in the tournament when we get to it. That a lot of what they're trying to do is cut off space and kind of force you into their fights. They do this on Breeze. You'll see it against FPX. And Zest is doing a good job there. But the Haunt comes in. And a good flash to follow up from Zhenfu. And, yeah. So that all starts with the Haunt there as well to get the information. Black Wiz waiting. They've got a crossfire set up in market. Now, somehow, some way, Mako still manages to deal with this crossfire. He has absolutely no business doing this. What a swing there as well. Gets a gun out of it. So that's just disgusting stuff from Mako. But he will have no hope in this round. Yeah, he has a paranoia and a smoke. He's going to smoke, but... Oh, man, had he pushed into there... I thought maybe Dariali would push, try to just finish this off, but I felt a little uncomfortable as he's only half health, and just going to make the end of it. So Spike going to go off, and it's going to be the save. And, yep, it's a good little piece of execution there to clean out the market after Zest gets the opening kill. So not too bad. All right, well, you do have the op now for RB, and he's going to try to take some space into B main, and will successfully get there. And you're going to see one of the most absolutely disgusting, just disrespectful shots that we saw in the tournament. But watch how he does this. He crouches underneath the crosshair placement of RB, and just absolutely disgusting swing. I don't even know. But it is cool that he kind of at least has a decent idea that if he comes in and crouches there, he might be able to get away with one. And he does. And it's just not quite able to be reacted to by RB. So that's Meteor just doing Meteor things. No, he was pretty solid in this tournament. All right, so now Alarmbot gets tripped. So market in mid under full control. Now there's a knife to try to slow things down a bit from Stacks. Right, so they know that maybe something's coming. It gets enough information, but it doesn't really get market. So they know there's only a couple. So there isn't full confirmation just yet for the side of DRX that this is a complete B push. There's a smoke to try to help here, though. But so let's talk. You know, the setup here is pretty good for the side of DRX. There's a smoke that comes out to help Zest. Stack's going to be taking boats, and we'll see how this one plays out. This is about as decent as it's going to get. Now, you can see Zest has his ult, but gets taken down before he's able to get to use it. Stacks only gets one, and North Eption doing a good job here, just kind of pushing together as a team, taking everybody out, making sure that everybody's checking their angles. And then it's left to Mako again, and there's just no way in hell he's going to be able to do anything. So another save. So Northampton here, okay, starting to feel it a little bit. And now they're all stacked up at A. The initial knife hasn't come out yet. Stax is holding it, right? They knife at the door. See what's going on at the front of the door. There's nobody there. Now he knifes. Now Stax waits right as that execute's about to happen and puts that knife down. It is absolutely disgusting, but still Meteor gets him. And he gets two. I mean, it's good timing here from the side of Stax. He has a great read on this, and there's utility at the door. The only person to get in here is Meteor. Everybody else is stuck. They're stuck. They can't get through. And Stax tries to take advantage of this. But of course, the gun diff, not great. Mako's stuck watching the doors. Finally, the entries are able to come through. So this is just Meteor having some great senses, some great timings. I don't even know how Zhenfu hits that. The turret's able to come up into heaven. Zest is going to get cheeky, try to knife the door, and pay the price for it. Just that was one of my favorite moments in the tournament. Just Meteor just being like, nah. Can't come through this door. He's just acting like a bouncer there. And, yeah, okay, round over. So RB here, going to die to the spike with the Sheriff. Please, God, if you play ranked games, die to the spike with the Sheriff if you can. For the love of God. And, yeah, not bad at all. And it's a good entry by Meteor. A good response from Stax. He had a great read on that. Great timing. Great utility usage from DRX, but Meteor's entry is just too good for them to really overcome it. Gonna throw the turret up on the wall, try to get some information. RB's gonna note that, well, something's going on, but he's not too sure what just yet. Now they're gonna use this smoke, take the haunt down, but two people shoot at that. That's some information. RB goes for the peek, can't quite hit the shot. Has to get his dash. You can see here comes the Nightfall. Gonna hit a couple and get them stuck. Now this is such a good piece of reading, I should say, from the side of Northampton. Right, they get all this space, and then okay, RB's got the op there. All right, let's pull the trigger. And yeah, okay, you're gonna get the ult from Zhenfu as well, but they know with all this up here, they know there's two down here because of the Nightfall, and they're able to clear that out. Now, the counter Nightfall does come through from Zest. It doesn't matter. It's just shut down right at the point of attack. This is just a great play call from Northampton. A great read, great sense on the timing. And, yeah. So now DRX, things are looking dicey. I mean, Northampton's having a run. And they're starting to, really feel it. Of course, this is such a great call. I mean, just no real answer that DRX could possibly have in that situation with the way they played it. They just weren't in the right places. So, okay. Now, things looking great. Until, boop, That's devastating. To lose Meteor out the gate like that, on that peak, and you just do not expect RB to be pushed up like that. He almost never does that kind of stuff. And that's the one round he decides to, and they're not ready for it. And they pay the price. So now it's all over at A, and the pings are there. They've got some pretty decent information. There's a couple over here. Here's the smoke from Blackwiz, though. So that's going to force the rotation out of Northampton. Let's see how they want to do this. It's pretty slow as they're looking to see. They have no idea what's going on in mid right now, so they have to wait for it. There's just no clue. Of course, there is two ultimates now as well in the back of all this, besides just RB's. So RB has his one, then there's two more. You have the null command and the lockdown. Now that haunt doesn't see anything over on B, but it doesn't fool anyone. Again, Stax knife right at the point of attack, and he's able to get one. RB is able to get in there and get three with the blades, and it's really good to see at this point in the tournament. RB having some good success with the blades. Really providing a ton of value. Even though it was being watched by Zest, JoJo just a little bit faster. Prowler does not note back generator. Stack's able to flash up over the top and take him down. Stack's playing off the sound cues, I assume. Here in the drop down there, able to flash up over the top. Now DRX takes a timeout. They just want to make sure that their bases are covered for the rest of this. And Termi giving him the cues, giving him the ideas. And now they're just going to, at least at the start, abandon mid. Right, a lot of times we've been seeing RB watching here. Now he's over here with Stacks. Looking to see if anybody's going to come through. It's a full setup, 5-stack over on B. And they're pinging early, looking for the push out from RB. You know, he had some success with it. And it's a one-way smoke set up by Mako across. Okay, Dariali trying to use his turret to check through it. So they're going to know, both teams, that there's people over there. So that forces them back. Now, there was a smoke to cover through short here. So Northampton doing a good job kind of covering their bases, but smoke goes down. And they continue to reaggress. And it's just utility being spammed to buy time, to buy space. And then another one-way comes. Lockdown invested. And it has to be respected. There's no answer on site for the side of DRX, so they're going to have to wait this out. So they're going to throw utility at the door if they can. Counter utility, you know, being thrown both ways. And Northampton able to get through there, but they take a fair amount of damage on the way in. And that could, you know, maybe be a little bit dicey, but DRX is going to play for retake. And this is just when DRX is at their best sometimes, when they do these kind of death ball, as Hypoc so eloquently puts it, the death ball retakes. The Haunt gets so much information. Dariali has no choice but to stand there because of the C's. Okay, and this is, let's slow this down because there's just so much going on so fast. This is just DRX in a nutshell. Everything happens in the blink of an eye. And you're left there wondering, well, how did that go bad? Okay, so I think Stacks flashed. There's a smoke into main from Mako. Right, smoke here. I think I saw Stacks flash. Okay. And now, you know, there's a star in response here from Blackwiz. The Haunt there. I mean, he's suppressed. He's marked. Yeah, just good luck. All right, so you can see that there is still from main, even though the smoke's there, that Genfu feels comfortable to go for the peek and gets the kill. So right now it's a trade. It's a 1-for-1. This isn't going too bad at all. I mean, look at the crossfire setup here for the side of Northampton. They're doing all the right things. They've got all the key people in the right places. I mean, to me, this is round over. Like, you look at this for most teams and you think, well, there's no way you're retaking this. Not if you're all coming from CT. Okay. But they're able to get through here. Just barely. I don't know what's going on with Meteor in this moment. Okay, there he comes alive. He waits. He swings out. He gets Buzz. Catches him looking. Immediately Stacks, though, looks in his direction. Now, Mako, in the meantime, covering. So, DRX is doing, like, just really good kind of standard breach tactics, right? First person looks left. Next person looks right. You know, next person looks maybe here or something. Next person looks right. Everybody needs to be looking at different angles when they come in. It's one, you know, and you have to kind of rely on the guy in front of you to cover for you in some ways. And so they're ready for it. And again, yep, Stacks immediately. This is the protocols and the discipline for DRX are so good that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing on this attack and what angle they're supposed to cover, how they're supposed to respond. They do it really well. And Jojo, last one alive. I mean, he's suppressed by Stacks' ult, even though ult is dead. And Mako saw him. Oh, man. Mako through the smoke, through his own smoke. Absolutely disgusting. I don't know how that happens. And they're able to recover, tech pause, blah, blah, blah. All right. So skip. Tech pause is over. And DRX looking to end this map. And in fact, they do. So again, same kind of look to start as we saw previously. You had the 2 here. You had the smoke from Mako over, but this time they're playing a little bit further back with the utility in B. And right now, RB has been noted, but he's waiting to see if there's a push off of it. But North Eption wise to this plan a little bit, at least initially. There's a Prowler there to confirm as well. Blackwiz does something cute here to try to get himself nestled underneath, kind of on the outside of the benches. Mako uses his TP to get info and finds out that, well, there's one over there. It's just the Killjoy. So nobody bite on these rotations just yet. We don't know where it is. Now, North Eption may be trying to use that information against him. And RB been really, really patient to watch mid, looking for the information. Great flick there on the Blackwiz. Blackwiz had an opportunity. If he could have pulled the trigger there fast enough and had it on point, might have been able to take RB down. So now the smokes and other things start coming through. There's a paranoia to try to cut this down, but Mako on point. You know, the fragment at the door, shut all this down, and DRX is just never bites on this, even though they only see one, even though they only see the Killjoy out here on Mako's ult. They don't bite. And they hold the job. Now, North Eption played great here. They had a great read. Honestly, I think there was a lot of rounds where I thought, you know, they knew what DRX was doing, and they still couldn't quite counter it. So, and that just shows you the relative power level of these two teams, I think, in terms of just individual skill capability. And, well, this map is going to be pretty one-sided, as we all know. So we're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I like pistol rounds, so maybe let's back up just for a second and talk about it. Because this pistol round's great from DRX. So the initial thing is okay, you're trying to hold down B long. You have, you know, kind of a flex player in the back who can maybe rotate over to elbow, rotate over the door, but actually what happens is he goes to the site. Meanwhile, DRX is kind of taking some time. They're going to take control of hookah, get set up, you know, for one of their big executes. And even though there's a lot of players noted, you know, the Prowler is able to kind of get pretty deep, but DRX backs up. They're not revealed off of any of that. Now, Blackwiz here is going to wait with the C's. They're waiting to kind of combo this, try to see if they can catch a multi-kill coming through long. But DRX completely changes direction. It's just Stacks, and he's keeping him busy. While this is all going on, he's keeping him busy with the flashes. Right, there's the C's. He gets the C's baited out. Okay, and they just go, and it's been smoked off. And now, let's go back a second. You can see how much I like pistol rounds. Okay. Stacks is doing such a great job keeping all his attention here. A smoke comes down here. Okay, a smoke comes down at Octagon. And then it is literally just JoJo on the site by himself. He has nothing. He has no one. He has not much utility, if any, at that point. Right? He's just cleared out of back of sight. Now, these two players are stuck here in Octagon. You're trying to make the longest rotation ever, almost, unless you go all the way through spawn, from Meteor. And you're so late on this. You have no idea what's going on. Even though there's been all this attention, you know, there just wasn't the comfort here for North Eption to bite onto this. And then Buzz, kind of able to set up here with his trademarks, and he pulls it back. He had the other one in hookah, just in case he needed it there. Stacks is watching for the rotates. They still know two are in Octagon. It's not like that's confusing, so they can just set up a crossfire there. And Blackwiz pushes a corner. That's a little bit wonky, but... And then Meteor, they know he's there, and then Stacks is just going to be able to stab him in the back. And again, it's just great reads, great setups, great execution from DRX. They looked really, really good. And Zest just great here, finds the angle through the box. Great playing with the kind of the vision and stuff there. And then there's a tech pause. As is tradition with Pansy and Hypoc. You got to feel bad for them a little bit. And skip. Oh my god, how long was this one? Hold on. Let's look at the. Okay. All right, so we're back into it. God, it was a long tech pause. That was like a 20-minute tech pause. And it's only a 1-0 for DRX, which, seeming pretty okay. They've been great on the pistols so far. They've won every one. In fact, I think they might win every pistol here, but... All right, so now they're waiting again. Every time you're seeing this from DRX against their opponents on these anti-ecos, that they're waiting to see if somebody pushes out. And they do this almost every time. And rightly so. You can't give up that space. You can't give up those flanks. It's really just too important not to. So some flashes into the octagon. Now they start pushing towards B. And one thing I do want to talk about here is that for DRX, they really like to push B on this map. I mean, that's just nuts. RB there, even though there's a little bit of... He uses the blast packs kind of in and out, just in case there was a third. But, yeah, they're able to just completely use the mollies and the smokes to get into the site. They've got it, but... What's I talking about? Oh, DRX likes to attack B a lot on bind because it is so hard to retake if you're able to do it. So I think it's the most difficult site to retake at the professional level in Valorant. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, you seed one over to the shorty. All right, you get those. Everybody gets those. And yeah. And Meteor just left, even though he's able to grab a Spectre. It's just, where do you go? And DRX is happy to just kind of, wait him out. And Zest with the Bulldog. You love to see it. It's been his preferred gun. The anti-ecos. You do get Buzz with the Vandal. And coming into the bonus. So let's see how this all plays out. Again, B hits, B hits, B hits. They're buying a little bit of time. Just seeing if there's a haunt coming out or anything. From Blackwiz as he's moved over to the Fade. And now you got Dariali on the Brimstone. And Zest is just better. And yeah, that's... Hypox said it. It's a gun upgrade, potentially. They're going to use the utility to clear every corner inside of Hookah, between the boom bot and everything. And then, forcing people out with the Molly and the fault line. RB is ready for that. He expects someone to be coming from that angle. And he just can't quite win the trade. But, Blackwiz here... I can't remember if that was a if that was a collat or not, but still, that's the round win. No, not quite. Well, it was a collat, but just not in the way you expect. Not in the order you would normally expect. Because it hit one first through the body of another player, and then he got the headshot on the other. All right, Mako sends out the snakebite early. That lands an octagon. The garden, whatever you want to call it. And then, so, Buzz is trying to see if he can take some space here. He's going to play right off this flash and dash of sorts. And it works perfectly, Again, DRX knows that Northeption has been really trying to contest space inside of garden. And they're able to punish it quite nicely with a little fancy utility combo. Oops. And, okay, so Zenfu holding an angle. And this is a one and done, for, you would think. This. And I don't think anything really comes out of that, actually. He gets flashed even, still opts to try to hold because he's able to swing it wide enough. But meanwhile, Buzz is just absolutely blasting people, and he's like, hey, guys, sight's open. They're like, cool. So this round is, a lot of Buzz and Stacks. Even though Stacks dies there, the initial kill. And Buzz just being extraordinarily patient. Zest being aware that there could have been a flank, able to clean it out. I mean, just clinical from DRX. They just almost no mistakes other than Stacks dying. And even that isn't really a mistake. Yeah, he's covering his angle. He's doing his job. Just didn't win the duel. Hey, well, and we know how this goes the rest of the way. Oh, yeah, there's Seoul. That's, I think, one of the bars in Gangnam. And, yeah, it's not going great for Northeption, so they take an early timeout to talk this one over. Bale and Termi, former teammates, going at it here at the international stage. Okay. Now DRX starts showing a lot of attention towards A. It's a gamble stack on a B because, again, DRX has been conditioning the B hits. And the one time they went, even kind of sniffed at A, it was just a fake. Not really a fake, but a teleport, a good reaction. I think it's not... I wouldn't call it a fake at all. It was a reaction off of Buzz's, just getting 2 kills by himself. And so now... DRX, though, isn't sure what's going on here. They don't have too much information. And there's the ult here to clear out U-Haul. So this one pretty much looks like a committed A hit. But of course, we all know, because we can see the map, that, well, there's just nothing you can do. It is an eco. Buzz is just holding the angle there. Get some help. If I remember right, this is actually pretty nasty here for Buzz. He has to TP out. They're trying to chase him down, but yeah, just not going to happen. Buzz there was even nearsighted and still able to just lock it down. So, yeah, well, they try to hold it, but Stax is trying to figure out. He's like, I'm shooting into it. Where are they? So, okay. DRX there, doing a good job. And yeah, a gamble stack from Northeption that just, the coin flip didn't go their way, I guess. Maybe DRX had a kind of a sense that they might do that just based on kind of previous reactions to things they had seen from Northeption. And now RB has, even though he gets stunned up and he gets some damage, but on the front there, JoJo able to hold the line. It's not a bad entry there. But again, DRX just swarm in on the back of all this. Everybody covering every angle. The smokes are there. Really isolate the site. And once you flush one of them out, and then it's going to be really hard because you got to wait for the rest of the the rest of the players to come over. It was, I want to say it was a, hold on. I want to say it was like a 2-3 split here. Yeah. Okay, so the ult comes through. Meanwhile, again, it's the same thing we saw in the pistol, right? While RB's pushing here, there's attention into Octagon. It's sort of the same thing, except this time they don't fake the push through long B. They actually go for it. So it's a different look from the pistol, but it feels kind of similar. And the results are pretty good. Almost exactly the same. And now you're set up for a really, really difficult retake for the side of Northeption. I mean, you have the tour de force, so you would expect, yep. Wow. What a push. What a push here. Oh, this is Mako. He sees just the outlines on the smoke and is able to spray it down. Absolutely disgusting. That is just absolutely ridiculous. And so they're looking good. And we'll say that a lot, I suppose, throughout the rest of this. Okay, so Meteor tries to get aggressive on this round. He's got the overdrive. He's got the laser fingers, but can't get anything done off the back of it. I mean, DRX is just ready for it. Again, DRX has really got... Also, as good as Northeption's read was on DRX on Ascent, DRX has a great read on Northeption here. On this map, now, that's a nasty shot. A stunner for sure. Meanwhile, Zest able to watch for this push out, and so here's where you're seeing those protocols that that DRX has had in place throughout the entire match of being really patient at the beginning of the rounds. That's just ridiculous with the Classic, but waiting for these push-outs because eventually Northeption does go for them. Now, you're going to have the Nightfall. Tons of utility, but Mako's able to respond here. With the Viper's Pit, you're trying to clear it with the Fade utility, but at this point, that was it. That Prowler was the last thing that Black Wiz had in the back pocket. So otherwise, you're just going to have to get it done with running and gunning. Yeah, Stack's pretty solid. I like what Dariali does here. Knows that there's maybe kind of a... I don't know. He finally saw it, I guess. Gets Mako. So Dariali does a really good job there, understanding the way that Viper Pit had shaped itself. And knowing that he could maybe get on top of that box and be relatively undetected. So he hits a really good moment with the way that DRX was positioned inside of it. He's looking for people. And he sees it. And the left-handed model gets you again. Yep. Things happen. And things are just really unraveling for Northeption. Like this round here in particular felt like it had to go Northeption's way if they were going to have any hope in this map. They get double operators. You know, they've got a rolling thunder. This should be everything that they need. And yeah, like DRX has been conditioning, you know, a lot of B hits, but now they're able to kind of try to go for A. They do a ton of damage up into heaven. In fact, Buzz had an operator of his own. Now Meteor does end up winning it, but Stax plants off of the normal kind of default behind the truck because of the molly. And he gets to play up close and personal. There's a rolling thunder. It only catches Mako. And maybe Stax as well. Doesn't matter. RB, again, discipline's great. The crossfires are great. I mean, let's just real quick go back for a second. Oops. Okay, so they're able to kind of win enough of a duel. They displace Zenfu, and he's up in heaven. He's going to actually die, even though Meteor's on his way. They're trying to delay the spike a little bit. There was a trademark over there outside of showers. Now Meteor gets it, but that doesn't matter. RB's able to sidestep that. They're able to get the plant down. You know, RB realizes he's potentially noted, so needs to change positioning here, and they need somebody to watch the flanks. And that's RB's job. Zest can sit here in showers, Stacks on point, Mako and U-Haul, and you have just a phenomenal crossfire setup. As long as RB does his job, this should be round in hand. We'll see it. So some smokes to help Stacks out. It's really nice of Zest there. It's good IGL, good bro. I guess Stacks maybe did get hit by that. He's just waiting. But again, RB hits the key position. I don't know what's going on with Stacks in there, but he's just feeling it at this point. And DRX is just running him over. I mean, the flash and the punish. Yeah. I mean, this is just DRX to a T. You know, they get into the site. They get their crossfire set up. They're covering their flanks well. Their mental is good. That's everything is rocking and rolling their way. And okay, so this time Dariali, we've seen him do that once with a little bit of success when he killed Buzz earlier with the Sheriff when he pushed out on the eco round. But yeah, this one not gonna fool DRX. You know, fool him once, okay. Fool him twice, yeah, not this match. And they're just kind of chilling. There's the TP out. I hear that, so Zest is ready. There's no crunch or anything that's attempted here though by Blackwoods. I mean, he's just completely isolated there. I guess they're just trying to get some kind of information, but it's a little bit weird. Yeah. And Mako's like, yeah, Zest, you can go. I'll cover Blackwoods. And then the stun is great. The utility placement behind the box on the B here has been really good for DRX in this match, catching players, you know, in that instance, or at least flushing them out in others. Doing all the things you need to do in the coordination, great. Buzz has been really favoring putting a shorty in his hands when he's on chamber. One thing he's talked about a lot in interviews is that he really likes the flexibility that you have with chamber in terms of headhunter. You know, maybe you have a rifle, you can grab a shorty. So you've got all these different gun options available for different situations. You could have the shorty, you know, you could have the headhunter for kind of maybe mid-range or ecoing, and of course the tour de force is just bananas, but then you have your rifle. So a really deep pool of different gun strategies that you can utilize. It's sort of like utility in a way, right? It's not exactly, but it sort of is. And the way he had used it in this year up to this match had been really good. You can see he's able to hold a lot of different angles. He's able to be really flexible in his positioning because of that as well. He can cover a lot of different stuff, you know, and act a lot of different roles on chamber because of it. You know, not just an entry, but, you know, watching flanks, playing close quarters, trying to hold smoke pushes, things like that. So now you can see that Genfu has to use headhunter bullets. That's unfortunate. And the TP out, and then RB's got the ult again, gets stopped up for a second, and then just kind of feels it. At this point, DRX just you know, feeling really good. Yeah, there's an aftershock there. It does catch Stacks a little bit. There's some utility here, but you know, they're just grasping at straws here as Northeption. They don't know what to do. They're all stacked up behind the box trying to find the opportunity. Yeah, Zenfu does get one. Response is good, though. You know, the trades are good for DRX. RB on site. Still has plenty of help. Deep post-plant locations, potentially, if needed. If the spike's even tapped. But it's not, because Buzz is there to watch with the op. And there you go. I mean, this is just all but over at this point. So we're just gonna kind of blast through this. So again, I think the biggest part about this is DRX has been ready for these fast hits, and now you're seeing it again in full force this time on this eco. We've seen it previously that these ecos for Northeption have been like 1, maybe 2 that push out. Maybe they push back on the back of Meteor's overdrive or Dariali just getting a little frisky, but this time it's a much more coordinated, multi-pronged attack. This doesn't go anywhere. And again, DRX is fully ready for this time after time after time, so you're not fooling them. It makes it really difficult on these ecos for Northeption because and DRX just has a great read on how they want to play it, where they might be coming from, how they might be doing it with their utility. I mean, you even saw DRX like dodging the recon bolts that Meteor had earlier when he had his overdrive. Yeah, you got an orbital strike, but so what? I mean, at this point, round's done. There's no reason to even invest it. It's a flawless. Nothing too much to write home about there. Okay. We're getting near the end of this particular match, and Buzz has to TP out. So it's a good response this time with the counter utility by Northeption. They've been getting kind of bullied there in Garden, but this time around, they're able to counter bully, but that doesn't matter because DRX rotates. Now, Zest isn't quite ready for that. That's kind of an unusual sort of misstep here, but the response is decent from Mako. Stax gets caught as well. But still, while all that was happening, RB just said, well, okay, if you guys are going to fight over there, that probably means there's some space open on A. I'm just going to take it. Again, this round actually catches DRX off guard a bit. But still, DRX's mental is so good, they're able to make the right recoveries, the right reads to get ahead of this. They have the Viper's Pit. They know that. You know, if they can get that down, of course. But the idea there by Mako, he gets one and he leaves, and RB as well to just keep going. Okay, so Nightfall comes through, but Mako is just actually crazy. Yeah, he gets taken down by Blackwiz, and he has no idea. He has no idea where anybody is. He's fishing, and doesn't get anything to bite. And it's all but over at this point with an 11-1/2. Pistols. All right. Well, I've been saying that I like pistols, and I do. And let's see what the setup looks like for DRX on this one. All right. So you can see here, it looks like Northeption is going for some kind of mid-hit. DRX has switched over to the defender side. Trademark on the back side of this box. Maybe slow this up. You got Mako here as well. Mako usually going to be playing in this vicinity most of the time. Just kind of gumming up the works. You know, Toxic Screen to cut the front of this off. Buzz can TP back into heaven. Nothing too unusual, too funky here to start out with, and then the other three over on B. But every lane plugged up for the side of DRX, covering their bases. And let's see what their follow-up will be on the back of it. So a lot of utility has to be invested there on the Buzz. Mako's playing for delay, and it's a really fast rotate from Zest and Stax. RB just waiting a little bit longer, and Meteor does get that first kill. He does clear out Buzz, and that's nice. They've got a really good opportunity here. But there's a really big concern here from Blackwiz that somebody's going to be coming from here, so he's completely distracted. They stack 3 in U-Haul. And, I mean, that gives the ability, because nobody's, you know, Dariali's over here watching mid, and he's also, they're all looking for flanks. They never come. So that allows RB to wide swing, right? Wide swing onto the site, get that opening kill. Let's go back a little bit here. Okay, so there's RB. He's got all this space to work with. You know, Mako crossed as well to get a little bit of information. Yeah, okay, Dariali tries to get up on the box. And then they just start defusing because they're pushing every single angle.
Pulling them out of these deeper positions. And this is
Yep.
This is done, Mike. It's done. Put a wrap it up, fork in it.
So just kind of a funky read here from the side of North Eption. They were so concerned about the flanks, the long lurks coming through from here and through here, that nothing comes through. I mean, he's stunned up. Meteor there just never saw it. And yeah, it's just kind of everything's just gone off the rails at this point for North Eption. They now just can't make a good read to save their life, and DRX has everything going for him, so they have to force buy. A flash to check from Stacks. He's going to get the info, and they're going to use the molly. Yeah, okay, there's more people coming. The fault line as well. So you know there's at least 2 there. Now you're going to about to see more. And you're able to gain a little bit of space with the Neon Dash. But now you've got a crossfire set up here, and you still haven't cleared Hookah at all because you've sent Zhenfu on a mission to watch A out here, and hasn't seen anything. I don't think there's been any information given over from Mako or RB at this point. There is the, like Hypoc just mentioned, there's the trap in front. So for DRX here, they're waiting, you know, just to play off contact, use their utility to gum up the space here and see what they can do. So now even this is taking too long. There hasn't been anything going on. So Stacks is already over here. That is such a fast rotate. And then the wall, you know, cuts off both doors, both entry points onto A. Now Blackwiz does get one on the back, but again, Stacks' fast rotate is good. Mako isn't really expected around the corner, and yeah, I mean, so much of this is just a great read from Stacks, a great rotate. So that's going to do it for North Eption versus DRX. At this point in the tournament, you know, DRX looked pretty good. It was a pretty expected result. I think that bind probably went better than I had even hoped for. They have been good. DRX has been good on bind in Korea. They've really improved their bind overall, in my opinion. And this kind of was the fruits of that labor. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Next up will be DRX versus FPX in the group stage to see if they would get to the playoffs. Of course, we know they do. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm hoping to record the next one here in the next day or two as soon as I have a little bit more time and can get a little bit more editing and stuff done. So thank you so much, everyone. If you're enjoying the videos, you know, do the like and the subscribe thing. I'm going to try to put together some more of these. Hopefully get to some stuff like maybe I can get to some of the Chinese teams before LCQ. I don't know if I'm gonna have time for that or not. Maybe I'll just stream those instead of making like full-on videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little bit about DRX and kind of some of the tendencies and the preparation that they're putting in for these matches. And in this case, it comes to a good result. And we'll see sometimes it doesn't always. So anyway, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks again, everybody. Take care.